What's going on, guys? Peter J. Cruz here, aka The Shred Geek. Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. I wanted to talk to you about the John Petrucci guitar universe. I just got back just under 2 weeks ago, and I thought it was high time to sit there and do a little video on the whole experience and what I thought of it and all the cool stuff that happened. So let me just start off with a quick little summary, kind of give you like some background in case you're not familiar with what the guitar universe is. So the John Petrucci guitar universe is basically like a guitar camp. You know, it's like 4 days, I guess 3 days, 4 nights, something like that, of just morning to night, mind-blowing guitar action, shred action, you name it. It's a lot of your favorite names are there. Some of your heroes are there. It's just one fucking awesome moment after another. So, of course, it's hosted by John Petrucci, and each universe event that they do, they'll have in a different venue. This past one here, which was 5.0, the fifth one, was in Las Vegas at the Hilton Lake Las Vegas Resort and Spa, something or other. And they've had it previously in Anaheim. They've had it in Florida. I think they've had one in New York State. And I forget what the other one was. But anyway, so they have them in different locations. It's not the same venue every time. And of course, it's John Petrucci, of course, is the host and the star of the show, you know, the MC, so to speak. And number of different guest instructors. I mean, and the lineup will invariably change, I'm sure, from event to event. But we had names at this one, at this event. We had, of course, John Petrucci, Rena Petrucci, his wife, and her band Mean Streak were there. And she had some breakout sessions and stuff like that. Names like Tosin Abasi, Jason Richardson, Steve Morse, Mike Portnoy was there. Who else? Baxty, Martin Miller, Angel Vivaldi, Mike Dawes, Nilly Brosh, and Chris Broderick. I mean, and I'm probably forgetting a few names here and there, but I mean, mind-blowing, you know, to be sharing the space and everything with these geniuses, these masters of the instrument, and to breathe the same air, to listen to the wisdom and that they impart and everything was just really, really cool. It was kind of an intimate setting. I mean, it's having lunch, you know, with them sitting down at the same table as you is just kind of mind-blowing in many cases, you know. And I'll get into all the specifics of that sort of thing a little bit later on, but just kind of the overview. It's, you know, there was all kinds of time for socializing, times for shredding and jamming. They had, you know, classes during the day, master classes during the day. You had your meals and so forth. And then in the evenings there were concerts. And then after the concerts, it was jam time. So they had all the rooms set up with amps. You basically bring your guitar, bring your cables and whatnot, if you want to bring pedals or whatever, and that's entirely up to you. And you get together with a bunch of guys, you sit there and just jam and shred and just have a good time. Hang out till 2 o'clock in the morning if you wanted, playing guitar, jamming on Crazy Train or something, you know. It was all cool. So all that stuff was really, really awesome and really helped kind of round out the experience, you know. So, of course, part and parcel, I guess, of the whole experience is getting to the venue. And, of course, depending on where they have the venue and whatnot, you probably have to fly there. So unless you're local to the particular venue that they're hosting the next one, then you could probably drive, and there's packages for commuter types if you end up not staying on the property if you're going to be commuting in every day. But as it was in Las Vegas, and I flew out from Houston, and flying, of course, means bringing your instrument. So, with all the stuff going on, of course, you want to bring your instrument. You want to bring, if you got like a small little fly rig or some pedals that you'd love to use, you need to bring your cables. If you need to bring power supplies, I mean, all the things, you know. So, you need to kind of manage that as far as travel. And I did a separate video, and I'll probably link it up above or something, as far as what you can expect traveling with your guitar, with your gear or whatever. But by and large, you'll need to bring your guitar in a suitable case. A gig bag is probably not gonna work with it. Not gonna be a wise choice, I should say. I would suggest if you got of course I've got a bunch of Kiesels, so I had Kiesel soft case at the ready, so you could use that. If you've got a mono case, if you don't have one, that would be a good option to look at into those mono soft cases, the hybrid cases or whatever they call it. I think Vertigo, M80, those are a couple different types that mono has. Those are extremely good at travel. And while I don't suggest checking your guitar with your luggage to be put on the plane in one of those cases, or even the Kiesel or the monos, for example, I would only do that if you had a properly rated ATA flight rated case. And I mean, Gator makes them. Enki has one. I think Angel Vivaldi actually brought an Enki case that would hold 2 guitars, and he brought 2 of his guitars. And he said he just checked it in with his luggage. I mean, he says go up to the counter, don't check it in, online. Do that in person, because oftentimes because of the dimensions of it, they'll charge you extra. But if you go there in person, usually they're not big sticklers for it. They'll just they'll just put it in as your second check bag on your airline. So just a quick tip, I would suggest upgrading your boarding or upgrading your status, I guess, on your ticket or whatever, to prevent you being on the plane later, especially if you bring like a soft case, like a mono or a Kiesel type soft case or whatever. This way you could get on the plane early and have room in the overhead to put your guitar overhead. Alternatively, you could also buy a seat. And you know what? I'm not going to get into it now. Go check out that video I posted earlier on the TSA thing, and that kind of gives you a bit more in-depth stuff to look into. And just, Google's your friend as well, so check that out. But yeah, so you got to get there with your guitar, and once you get there and stuff, of course, keep in mind your batteries and stuff can't go in your check bags. You got to bring those on the carry-on. So just plan accordingly. So, but by and large, you shouldn't have an issue getting your guitar to wherever you're going travel-wise. So keep that in mind. Don't let that deter you from wanting to participate in such an awesome event like this. So the event was actually put on by a company called Dreamcatcher Events. I think it's Dreamcatcher. And of course, John Petrucci was the top bill, so to speak, and the host, of the event. But Dreamcatchers, who handle all the logistics and the organization and all the promo and all the hype and everything else, and they really kind of set up the schedule. And honestly, going into the event, I knew there was all these different guest instructors there, so many things to consider, autograph sessions and jam sessions, and which, who's going to be offering, which guest faculty member would be offering what classes and when, and I just, in a way, I was almost kind of overwhelmed. I was like, I want to do a little bit of, I want to do everything, but I'm afraid I'm going to get there and I'm going to be completely clueless and I'm going to be lost and I'm not going to know where to go or when to go or all that other stuff. And I'm going to say Dreamcatcher Events really fucking outdid themselves. It was extremely well organized. We were always well informed. They had a QR code when you checked in that you could scan with your phone, and you could sign up for the text messaging thing that they have. And basically, any changes they had everything posted. They had an online calendar. It was a Google Doc or something, and you could literally just pull up the schedule every single day, every time slot, what exactly was going on, what room it was in. It was all spelled out, black and white, super easy. There was a separate doc that they had sent out that had all the breakout sessions listed, each artist, and what for each slot that they were teaching, like what classes they were talking about for that particular class, like what the curriculum was or whatever. And in some of the cases where the instructors maybe had like handouts or music sheets or whatever they wanted to pass out as part of the course, there were links for that to download those as well. So even before you got to the event, you could sit there and print them out at home, throw them in your suitcase, and you had the music ready to go right in front of you for the class. You already knew what the classes were. You could already figure out what classes you wanted to attend, and you'd have everything ready to go. Extremely well organized, well put together. I know they didn't do the cooking, but the food was also exceptional. Each day was a different theme. I think it was like there was like an Italian night. I think the first night was Italian, then it was like Asian, Mexican, and then the last night was I guess like Americana or whatever, you know. So it was all great. Of course, you know, John Petrucci had his barbecue, and he was the grill master, and he served up the burgers and the hot dogs and everything, and you had like all the, you know, the sides, the potato salads, the, you know, coleslaws, the chips, all the stuff. So the food was excellent, you know, excellent as well. Everything was so well organized. We were very well informed of any changes, you know, running changes that they had to make. So that really took a load off my mind. I was like, I'm good. You know, like I just know exactly. And there was the way they had paced out the schedule. The way they paced out the schedule was basically, you know, you have like, you know, a morning breakout session like 10 a.m. And that was a great thing. So everything started at 10 a.m. So as late as you probably were up the night before, jamming, hanging out with buds and stuff like that, or talking to people or whatever, you could sleep in a little bit in the morning, or if you wanted to go to the fitness center, you could sit there and get a little morning workout in, then have time for, you know, shower up a little bit, have some breakfast, and then you had plenty of time to get down for your 10 a.m. break. You know, the first start class of the, you know, first class to start the day was, you know, breakout session 10 a.m. Excuse me. And then from like one time slot to the next, I mean, the tightest you had was 15 minutes, which was, excuse me, I'm sorry, which was plenty of time. So, you know, no issues there whatsoever. So it was all pretty awesome. So again, plenty of time to get from one section to another. A lot of times they actually gave you like 30 minutes or so from, you know, the end of one time slot to the beginning of the next scheduled event, you know. Like a breakout session might have ended at 11:30, and lunch would start at 12, and then lunch would go to like 1:30, and then your master class would start at 2 or something, right? So I mean, you'd get out at 11:30, and lunch was just open. It was just like, it was a big dining room. You just go and you know, grab your buffet or whatever, eat. I mean, it wasn't going to take an hour and a half to eat, but the window of opportunities open for the buffet was served from 12 to like 1:30, for example, right? And then your master class didn't start till 2. So, but an hour and a half for lunch, for example, right? You had plenty of time. You can get there at 12. You can get there at 12:30. I mean, you still had plenty of time to eat. You know, the buffet lines were not super long. Grab your food, sit there, chit-chat with some people, maybe mingle a little bit, talk to, maybe you saw Chris Broderick at the next table and say, we'll go over to say hi, grab a photo or something, or sit next to him and have lunch with him or whatever. Whatever you wanted to do, you know. I mean, everyone was in pretty much the same dining room, and I had plenty of time. So I never felt rushed to sit there and eat and wolf it all down. Even when I got there late, I had plenty of time. Sit there and chit-chat, shoot the shit, eat, and then plenty of time to go. Then afterwards, go back to the room, you know, gather my stuff together if I needed to, and then get ready to go down to the next event. And there was always plenty of time. I never felt rushed. So extremely well planned out and everything else. If I had to nitpick, I would say it was probably a little bit too much leeway in time, that they could have like shortened it a teeny bit, maybe squeezed in an extra breakout session during the course of the day. Because honestly, with all those instructors and all the stuff that they were offering and stuff, it's almost like inevitably there was always a situation where it was like, I don't know if I want this class or if I want this class, and it's like, what do I do? And yeah, so it would have been great to have opportunities to attend, you know, another opportunity to attend a different class, you know. But I mean, the instructors are not going to teach the same thing the whole day long either, so they're going to have various classes. So it's like, flip a coin, I guess, you know. So, but I mean, all in all, just fucking awesome. So, of course, the cast of characters for the 5th edition of the John Petrucci Guitar Universe, you know, John Petrucci, of course, was there. Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater, and Dave LaRue was there from his solo record and so forth. And then, of course, the rest of the cast of characters. You had Neely Brosh, Chris Broderick, Jason Richardson, Tosin Abasi, Baxty, Martin Miller, Angel Vivaldi, Mike Dawes. And funny thing, when I signed up, I was like, okay, master classes, and I'll take Angel's classes. I mean, because I'm a big Angel Vivaldi fan. And as I started getting, we started like a couple of weeks before the event, they had already posted like the breakout schedule for like in progress, so to speak, with the topics of what each of the instructors were going to be teaching. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, there's some other really, really cool stuff here from some of the other instructors. Let me check this out. So as I started looking at it, I'm like, okay, so Martin Miller, for example. I mean, he's got a really interesting one on fretboard visualization. I can't even say it. So I'm like, okay, well, let me check this guy out because I've never heard of him personally before, and I don't want to, squander the opportunity if he's not something or someone that I'm gonna jive with or whatever. I'll just do a different class, because I had some other options at that same time slot. So I like looked him up. I found his stuff on Apple Music or whatever, Spotify, and I listened to it and I'm like, fucking A, hello, yeah, this guy rocks. And the same with Baxty. I started looking him up and I was like, okay, these guys are really, really cool. Of course, I already knew Chris Broderick and Neely Brosh and Tosin Abasi and then Mike Dawes. I'll honestly say he was the acoustic player of the bunch, and that really didn't tickle my pickle. I was like, well, so I just kind of overlooked him. Man, that was a mistake. So, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, so I kind of like started looking at, and honestly, that first look into their, these other artists and their music was mind-blowing and eye-opening, I was just like, holy shit, these guys are awesome. They shred, they rock. They're amazing, technicians and, guitarists and everything else. And I was like, okay, I'm selling myself short by not listening to these guys. So started listening to them some, and I was definitely impressed. Very, very cool. And beyond that, the humility of a lot of these faculty, it was just super awesome. Tosin Abasi and Neely Brosh and Chris Broderick. I actually ran into I rode the elevator with Chris Broderick. We happened to walk into the elevator together, or he was already on it, and I came in, and it was just the two of us on the elevator. So we rode a couple of floors together, just small talk. It was all cool. I wasn't gonna fangirl on him or nothing, and sit there and could we do a selfie or what? I felt kind of like cheesy to do that, but it was cool to have a moment with him. Like just talk about guitar, for a couple of minutes in the elevator or whatever. Another situation, I actually at dinner. I think it was dinner. One of the nights, and I got there late. And I just found an empty seat at a table, and I happened to look up, and Dave LaRue was there, just a couple of chairs over from me, and we ended up having a wonderful conversation at the dinner table while having dinner, talking about the industry and that sort of thing. So it was really, really cool. None of this higher than thou type of stuff or whatever. These people really humble and willing to talk to you. They're just dudes like us, or people like us, in the case of the females that are on the faculty, and hopefully there'll be more in the future. So it was really, really awesome. Who else did I run into? Mike Portnoy. Ran into him on check-in, actually. I already checked in, put my stuff away in the room, and then came down just to kind of get the layout of the hotel. And as I'm walking down to the lobby, I see him at the end of the hallway. And I reckon, Mike Portnoy, I recognize him in a split second. And I saw him and I was like, okay, sort of like doing the whole, I'm not worthy, like Wayne's World style. And he just stopped. He was probably good 90 feet away from me, like in this long corridor. And he just like stopped, and then he started looking behind him are you like worshiping me? So then we had a good laugh, and he came up, and I grabbed a selfie, and I'll probably go ahead and post it over here somewhere. And of course, then like all the other instructors and stuff, I mean, you take a selfie with them during class, after class, or record them, have them sign your stuff or whatever when you get a second. And probably the really, one of the cool moments for me, of course, like I told you, I'm a big Angel fan. We've communicated over social media some, and I would say I see him as differently than just like a guitar hero. I see him as more of a person. And so we saw each other at check-in on the first day, and he saw me. He's like, "Hey man, give me a hug," and gave him a hug, and we chatted a couple of minutes. And I told him, "Hey man, I know you work out, and I see it on social media all the time." And I was like, "Have you been to the fitness center? I mean, how is it over here? I've heard it's there." He goes, "No." He's like, "It's pretty decent. You can get your work done. No worries." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "You want to work out?" And I was like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Yeah, let's meet tomorrow morning and we'll work out together." Never happened. He, I guess, wasn't feeling it. I was down there, and I was like, "Well, let me get the layout of the land." I did my little workout, went back to the room, showered, went to breakfast or whatever. Well, on Sunday, the final full day, I should say, I was sore from the last 2 days working out and so forth. And so I go down to breakfast, and, I woke up, showered, and went down to breakfast. And I'm sitting there. They put me at a table for two. Of course, it was just me. And, whatchamacallit. I'm sitting there, I order my coffee and getting ready to order my breakfast or whatever. And then I see Angel come in, and then the hostess, greets him, and he starts walking towards my part of the dining room. And I'm just like, "Hey man, what's up?" And he's like, "I want to sit with this gentleman right here." So I ended up having breakfast with Angel Vivaldi, which I thought was a highlight for me. It was really, really cool. And we were probably there a good hour just talking, shooting the shit, talking about life and music, and told him some of the stuff, aspirations, and some of the musical concepts and stuff that I have. And he really complimented me on all that stuff. So it was really, really awesome. So anyway, so the faculty is just fucking phenomenal. So definitely worth the visit for sure. So all in all, I mean, with all the stuff going on with the breakout classes, the master classes, Steve Morse was there as well, and he's really, really awesome. And wrapping up every single night at the event, there was a concert, and after the concert was over, it was, if you want to go back to your room and get ready for bed and go sleep or whatever, great. Otherwise, there were jam rooms open with all the equipment you could need to sit there and jam till whenever you felt like it. And since it was like downstairs, like in the basement sort of thing, noise was a non-issue. It was away from all the rooms and everything. So, much jamming to be had. But the concerts every evening were really, really awesome. And that alone was definitely a very good value proposition to add to the whole Guitar Universe admission price, so to speak. And I'll tell you what. Again, I mentioned previously about Mike Dawes, the acoustic guy, and I kind of overlooked him because he's the whole acoustic thing. I'm not much of an acoustic player. That stuff doesn't really, tickle my fancy, so to speak. So, but for his concert, I mean, I was absolutely just gobsmacked. I mean, he did stuff with an acoustic guitar that just blew my fucking mind. I mean, absolutely. So if you haven't checked him out, please do. You're doing yourself a disservice by not checking him out. Really, really awesome stuff. Live, he's just he's hilarious for one. He's hysterical. I mean, I probably spent almost as much time laughing as I did picking my jaw up off the floor because of the stuff he would do on the guitar. So anyway, so that's really cool. Of course, John Petrucci had the final night. He had his solo set. With Mean Streak, with Rena Petrucci's band. Then the opening night there was a concert with Angel Vivaldi. There was Baxty, Neely Brosh, and Martin Miller. They all had the four of them played. They each had their own sets. And then there was one with Jason Richardson, Tosin Abasi, and Chris Broderick. And then there was the acoustic night with Mike Dawes and Steve Morse. and then the final night was John Petrucci with Mean Streak, Rena Petrucci's band opening up. So I mean, a full day of classes and shred and all that other stuff and instruction and whatnot, and then wrapping up things with a rocking concert in a great little venue, and then just jamming to the wee hours of the morning, And I will say, and I didn't mention this earlier on the faculty, but Doug Doppler was also there, and I forgot to mention him. And my apologies in advance, Doug. I am so sorry. I was thinking about all the breakout sessions, and so Doug Doppler was also there, and he had a jam room of his own where he kind of classes. And he went over different the modes and stuff like that. He got really deep into the modes and everything on the guitar, and really, really awesome. Real humble guy, really sweet, excellent guitar player, and it was just another highlight of mine because he and I got to chat for a little bit during one of his classes, and it was pretty awesome. So anyway, but all in all, if you can swing it, definitely check out the Guitar Universe, John Petrucci's Guitar Universe. The event's extremely well run, super well put together, and you will have the time of your life. I mean, guitar from when you wake up to when you go to bed at night, and maybe sleep 2-3 hours and rinse and repeat and do it the next day again. So anyway, highly recommended it. Highly recommend it. So definitely check that out. So anyway, Shred Geek is signing off. Thanks so much for listening. I know this is a bit long-winded and stuff, but I mean, it was just an experience that just kind of blew my fucking mind. And I just had to share it with you guys, put it out in the world. And I look forward to doing that again, absolutely. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Rock on. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.